मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्. Welcome everyone to this transcendental program of studying Param Dharma, the highest absolute duty of humankind, called the Bhagavad Dharma. And in that, currently we are studying Sri Prema Bhakti Chandrika by His Divine Grace, Srila Narottam Das Thakur Mahashaya. And just as the name says, Prema Bhakti Chandrika, the path of, just one second, the path of pure devotional service, which is enlightened or shown the light, Chandrika, which sheds the light or the cooling light. Chandrika is the cooling moonlight. That's very significant, because then it's very encouraging and very invigorating for us to move forward. So this path of pure devotional service, it is exposed, it's revealed to us. And the way it is revealed, it feels like how one feels in the cooling effect of a very pleasing moonshine. So, very systematically and very methodically, from Ajatrati stage to Jatrati stage, the purpose of this study is any culture of this devotional service, pure devotional service. Culture means transformation. So our purpose is very specific, that we want to attain the Jatrati stage, Bhava Bhakti. Jata means Jat literally means taking birth or converting. Rati raso bhavet tibra padayor vyasanadana, by the effect of which all the unwanted, all the anarthas. So the replacement, that's what we are seeking. Transformation, modification, all these terms are meant to cause that purification in all of us. And with that purpose only, we are studying this Prema Bhakti Chandrika, and it's a wonderful way to self-analyze oneself. And as the Acharyas say, and through their attitude and kind of suggestions and also warnings which we require in the conditioned state, but even in the liberated stage, they are very careful to establish for the benefit of the condition or Ajatrati sadhakas. Ajat means not born yet. The Rati, the platform of Asakti, and Asakti, when becomes more and more deeper, it converts into Rati or Bhava. So every statement they have given, it is very much, they are situated in the highest platform already, but in order to fulfill the manobhishta of Srimad Mahaprabhu, they have so painstakingly, for our benefit, put so much in writings, not to glorify themselves or think how great they are. There is not at all, they are not at all self-centered. They are so Mahaprabhu-centered and the divine couple-centered, and as a innermost desire, one of the most desired goal to be accomplished in the service of Mahaprabhu, they have done this. So they are very much situated on the highest platform of this Krishna Rati, that is Sri Radha Dashyam. They are merged, they are submerged actually. They are totally drowned in this Manjari Bhavalasa Rati. Everything which has come out of their mouth is the effect of that. Their experience, their anubhutis, udgar, or expressions, instructions as they appear to us, they are all coming from that platform of fullest realization of the highest achievement, of the highest perfection of the human potential in accordance to our Swarupa identity. So, following in their footsteps, there is a doubtless way to attain for ourselves, individually and collectively, the highest possible perfection of our human potential in Sri Radha Dashyam. So, in the last sloka, and today's sloka is connective, every sloka causes further development for our benefit. So, in the conclusion of the last sloka, basically, that was number 25. So, in the conclusion, the last, there are two aspects of this. The slokas, first two lines and the last four lines. The last two lines. Every sloka is of 4 lines. In the 26th sloka, last sloka, he concluded with the last lines that Sakala vipatti jave mahananda sukha pave jara hoye ekanta bhajana. The importance of exclusive devotion to Krishna was so wonderfully described, and we very wonderfully notice the beauty and the prowess of one-pointed worship of Krishna. Correct? And one-pointed devotion to Krishna, automatically what happens? All these anarthas in the Shad-Ripus, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Matsarya, they flee. They flee. That's what the effect of one-pointed. All these vices will flee automatically when they hear the sound of a Govinda, Nama. Just as elephants flee when they hear the lion's roar. All calamities will go from one. All calamities in the form of anarthas will go from one who surrenders to one-pointed bhajana. One-pointed bhajan, and he will attain topmost bliss. Wow. And now in today's sloka, we will so wonderfully be blessed to study how this one-pointed Ananya Bhajan can be accomplished. See? Ananya Bhajan. For information's sake, yes, we are exclusive worshippers of Krishna, but have we attained the Ananya Bhajan? Have we attained the one-pointed bhajan, worship of Krishna? That question has to be addressed. And in today's sloka, that thing will be addressed. So in the conclusion of last sloka, Nautam Das Thakur says, Sakala vipatti jabe, mahananda sukha pabe, jara hoy ekanta bhajan. If ekanta bhajan is attained, exclusive devotion, in true sense is attained, then the effect is Sakala vipatti jabe. Mahananda sukha pabe, jara hoy ekanta bhajan. So when the enemies have fled, the practitioner becomes free from danger. This means that as the practitioner conquers his bad habits, his heart gradually becomes fixed in bhajana, nishtha. And then nishtha further develops into ruchi, and ruchi further develops into asakti. That platform we must anchor, we must aspire to attain, because that is the minimum, that is the beginning, first sprout of bhava bhakti. That should be the immediate target of most of us who are in the ajat rati platform, in whose heart rati or asakti has not been manifest as yet. But nonetheless, as the practitioner following the rules and regulations of a pure devotional service, as the practitioner conquers his bad habits, his heart gradually becomes fixed in bhajana, gets, that is nishtha, gets the taste, that is ruchi, ruchi in multiple favorable things, that's the meaning, and becomes eventually attached to the Lord, or anything which is connected. The Lord is not limited, Lord just a person. This broad or all-inclusive definition of Krishna must be very much appreciated. Rupa Goswami described the 7 aspects of who Krishna is. So Krishna is Krishna's Naam, Rupa, Guna, Leela, Dham, Parikar and Abharan. These 7 are also known different from Krishna because they are nothing but the manifestation of Krishna's Swarup Shakti. Swarup Shakti means which is never separated from internal world. So you cannot separate anything from Krishna which is part of him. So Krishna's Naam cannot be separated from Krishna, is non-different. Rupa, his form is non-different from Krishna. His quality is non-different, his pastimes non-different. So these 4 are very much easy to, at least theoretically, understand. Yes, makes sense. Then the 3 other aspects, they are also as important. Dham, Krishna's abode, is also non-different from Krishna. So attachment to Dham is also attachment to the Lord, isn't so? His attachment to Krishna is limited to just his name, and we will not like his form, his qualities, his pastimes, his abode, which we are all aspiring to attain. Attaining the supreme means attaining the supreme abode of the Lord. Dham Parikar, Krishna, just like a king, is never alone. So whole entourage is also non-different from Krishna. So Krishna's eternal associates, they are also Krishna only. Meeting or having the fortune to meet Lalita Sakhi in Vrindavan, is it any different than meeting the divine couple themselves? That's the guarantee. To become blessed to encounter Lalita Sakhi is non-different from encountering divine couple, because it's a guarantee. If you meet Narad Muni, if you just hold on to his lotus feet, follow his advice. We have absolute faith in Narad Muni, correct? We heard so many times through the culture of our devotional practices. So if you attend Narad Muni, I will just follow him, I will just grab his feet and hold his hand, and I will attain the Supreme. So Narad Muni is also non-different from Krishna. that faith, that kind of absolute conviction one should have in the Mahatpurush. So the Mahatpurush who comes in our life, if we attain such kind of perception of, if we become blessed with the perception of feeling about someone as the most blessed, then he is our Narad Muni. So Narad Muni is not to be searched out in the stories or in the somewhere in the imagination. They are indirect, the scriptures, but through parampara, through the arrangement of the Lord, we have to all individually identify our Narad Muni in person. That would do. So Dham Parikar. So Parikar or the Buddhi, our perception of the Mahatpurush should be that he is the Bhagavad Parshad. Dham Parikar means Parshad. Then Abharana, all the paraphernalia of Krishna's worship meant for his joy. All the bhogas, all the decorations, everything which is utilized or meant to please Krishna, bring his joy. So Krishna is not limited. So then the practitioner can become blessed with incessant bliss of bhajan and attainment of the bliss of the Lord's personal loving service. First one becomes attached to the Lord, and every one of us has experienced what attachment to someone or something feels. What it would be like when the same attachment we will be blessed with to feel for the Supreme Lord. Either Nam, Rupa, Guna, Lila, Dhama, Parikar, Avaran, not limited to just one thing. And becomes attached to the Lord, then the practitioner can become blessed with incessant bliss of bhajana and the attainment of the bliss of the Lord's personal loving service. That is the perfection of our Swarupa. Then Ekanta Bhajan, selfless, desireless, unself-centered, desireless and unadulterated bhajan is accomplished. If we can attain the platform of asakti, but asakti is rarely achieved. One should not take it cheaply, thinking that just because we have developed some appreciation and ruchi for something, we have come to the stage of asakti. Now I have become. Asakti is like falling in love with someone. It becomes incessant, it's ekantik when one becomes asakt, attached to something or someone. One thinks of that thing or the person all the time, incessant. And on the path of the sadhana bhakti, which is more different from Prema Bhakti, because our path is the path of pure devotional service, Prema Bhakti. Chandrika. Chandrika means the path which is enlightened through the very wonderful feeling, like a feeling in the presence of moonlight. So this is studying this culture of Krishna consciousness, this Bhagavad Dharma, it is most soothing, very soothing. So what we are discussing here, that asakti is rarely achieved. At the platform of asakti, everything becomes so wonderfully resolved. One loses the very tendency of becoming self-centered. A conditioned soul is self-centered. But a sadhaka, when one attains the platform of asakti, he becomes free from self-centeredness. Because the object of his attachment takes over. So much so that it is, he realizes the real bliss of becoming attached to the very source of all bliss. Raso vaisaha, rasam hi evayam labdva. So this labdha is actually one attains the Supreme only on the platform of asakti. At the stage of asakti, one possesses the Lord, because it becomes impossible for him to forget him. And what we were saying, that on the path of this sadhana bhakti, which is non-different from prema bhakti, the longest stage, longest distance, Adau Shraddha Tatha Sadhu Sangha Bhajane Kriyanasa Nivritti Nishtha Ruchi. The longest distance is between Ruchi and Asakti. That's why I say Asakti is rarely achieved. Rupa Goswami also said this platform of pure devotional service, Bhakti, is rarely achieved. Sudurlabha. So something which is so rare, really to be attained, if one thinks that I have attained that platform, this very thought is making one self-centered. That means one has not. Actually, the hankering to get it, the hankering means the feeling that I haven't got it. This intense feeling or longing that I haven't got it, that is the proof that one has got it. So until we get that mood, because it doesn't have to be spoken from our own mouth that I have got it. Actually, I have not got it, and that longing, that craving to get it is the very symptom. So how can one who has got it can ever say that he got it? And this is the biggest paradox, isn't it? Longest. So even coming to the platform of Ruchi is very, very high. To develop Ruchi for different aspects of pure devotional service, it gives engagement. So difference between Ruchi and Asakti can be defined. We have explained it many times, but once again, just the reference is coming. Ruchi, even at the stage of, because in Ruchi, our ego is involved. I want to do this, and that's why we do. Something which we naturally want to bring in our routine is called Ruchi. Because personal ego is involved. I want to do it, or I don't want to do this. Then, so that's, but that happens in a continual. So the difference between Ruchi and Asakti is the difference between two English words, continual and continuous. Continual means on a daily basis, on regular basis, but not incessant. Continuous means incessant. So incessant or continuous is the stage of Asakti. That is what we want to achieve and become blessed with. Then Ekanta Bhajan, that is called Ekanta Bhajan, selfless, desireless and unadulterated bhajan is accomplished. The purport of this is that as long as the enemies like lust reside in the heart of the practitioner, that long, until then, his heart will continue to billow on the waves of different gross and subtle desires, such as profit, adoration and distinction. This is all part of the self-centeredness. I'm still thinking of myself. I'm in love with myself, not love with the Lord. Correct? One cannot simultaneously love or become attached to more than one. So in a conditioned state, one is only self-centered, hankering for different gross and subtle desires with profit, adoration, distinction. Therefore, although he did take shelter of this path of exclusive worship, since his heart is still billowing on the waves of subtle and gross desires, he cannot reach genuine, exclusive and unadulterated bhajan. For instance, the mind of a chaste woman who is fully surrendered to her husband does not waver from her husband and never becomes attached to others. But the minds of those women who have not yet attained such loyalty to the husband will still be moved, can be distracted when they see another nice man. Thus, it should be understood. The further explanation of this aspect is explained by Baldev Vidyabhushan. He says, those who are dedicated to worshipping Sri Hari are superior to those who desire the fruits of their devotion. Those who are dedicated, because the object of our dedication is also Krishna. Dedication means always become concerned with the object of our dedication, or the person we have dedicated. So those who are dedicated to worshipping Sri Hari are superior to those who desire the fruits of their devotion. Those who may perform devotion, but their ulterior motive, Anya Bhilasha, they may be performing exclusive bhajan, no doubt about it. Krishna at least expects this. Ananyas chintayantu mam ye janaha paripasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyam. So one can have expectation or desire for that I will be taken care of, I will be protected and all this. Krishna says, yes, I will do that. But those who become dedicated means becoming anyabhilashita shunyam, jnana karmadi anavritam, anukulyena krishna anushilnam. Only for they are not, so they are superior to those who desire the fruits of their devotion. Actually, Sakam Bhakti is not condemned in the scriptures. Sakam means performing devotional service for some. But devotion means exclusive devotion, that is the minimum requirement. And by performing exclusive devotion, worship of Krishna alone, Krishna takes over, eventually he becomes freed from all the ulterior desires and only desires to attain the loving service of the lotus feet of the Lord remains in his heart. That culture, that transformation has taken place. So minimum, this Ananya Bhakti is emphasized, but Ananya Bhakti itself is not sufficient. One has to attain the platform of Shuddha Bhajan. And how that will be accomplished, that will be, we will be studying in today's Sloka. This conclusion of last Sloka we are just reiterating. So they are called Ekanti. So dedicated, those who are dedicated to worshipping Sri Hari are superior to those who desire the fruits of their devotion. They are called Ekanti, for they are fixed in spiritual matters. Then again, amongst these Ekanti devotees, exclusive devotees of Krishna, those whose hearts are attached to Sri Hari, Hari's form of Sri Brajendra Nandan Krishna, are the greatest. Sri Hari is wholly subdued by their exclusive attachment to him. Rupa Goswami has given the wonderful Siddhanta. Siddhantatas abhedopi Sri Krishna Swarupayo Rasenot Karshate Krishna Rupam Esha Rasasthiti. The Krishna Rupa becomes superior in perception of sadhaka who is attracted to the Krishna's rasa. Rasena Utkarshate Krishna, because of the mellow, especially conjugal mellow. Krishna's proclivity and his vilasa is enjoying in conjugal flavor, because Ujjwal Ras is the very Swarupa of Krishna, although Krishna apparently has to deal with associates in different other rasas, Shant, Dashya. Shant, there is nothing to deal, they are just self-satisfied at the distance. But Dashya, Sakhya and Vatsalya, Krishna has to deal, but his inner hankering is only to be with Srimati Radharani. So, naturally, those who have developed that affinity towards Krishna in that conjugal mellow. So Rupa Goswami says, Tatrapi ekantinam shreshta Govinda Hita Manasa Yesha Shri Prasadopi Mano Hartum Na Shakya. Among the ekanti or exclusive devotees, those devotees whose hearts were stolen by Sri Govinda are the greatest, for even Sri Vaikuntanath, Lord Vishnu's manifestation, or the melo with him, that is sense opulent, cannot steal their minds away. Vaikuntanath, his presence is most amazing, correct? And it can capture anybody's mind and heart, at least mine. It's very awe-inspiring, very amazing. But those who have found their affinity or attachment or rati for Sri Krishna, then they can let go even the temptation to go for Sriman Narayan. Even Sriman Narayan cannot steal their minds away. That stage is yet to be attained for all of us. One should not think that we have become so attached to Krishna that now Sriman Narayan shows up or Hanumanji shows up and they can lull us, they can attract us, we can find. So basically we have to attain the platform of asakti, minimum, so that we don't lose our obsession for Krishna. It is needless to say that other matters are even less likely to steal away their minds. Even Vaikuntanath cannot steal their minds, and who else can do? There are 4 kinds of full independence in this exclusivity. Disinterest in varnashrama dharma, because then the focus to perform worldly duties in the name of dharma, there's a distraction. Becoming free from all the so-called obligations of varnashram dharma, because they are disturbance, so they take away the focus or the intensity of exclusive bhajan. So disinterest in varnashram dharma. Radha Govind Maharaj says that just as by adopting dharma life or dharmic life or religious life, a person frees himself from so many anarthas or adharma, papa. Similarly, by adopting this path of pure devotional service, especially after taking shelter from bona fide spiritual master, that is our process now. So adopting this culture of param dharma or exclusive devotion to Krishna, only meant for his pleasure, dedication to Krishna. Then by adopting this path of pure devotional service, one can also release oneself from the clutches of dharma. Some replacement is there necessary, So when we replace our system with the param dharma, then it should be possible for us to find or become disinterested in varnashram dharma. Then second, the first independence, this freedom. Second, independence from fruitive activities of non-dualistic knowledge. Jnana karmadi anavitam. Not aspiring to attain any other abode in this material world, or aspiring to attain liberation in the non-dualistic knowledge. So that's another freedom. See, 4 kinds of full independence in exclusive bhajan. Third is complete attraction to the Lord even in adverse times. Krishna alone is our shelter. Complete attraction to the Lord. Because the temptation, the attraction itself is so powerful on the platform of attachment, then one can think of no replacement. Then fourth is exclusive dedication to the cause of prema. Exclusive dedication to the cause of prema. What causes the prema? What causes prema? This process of bhakti, this process of pure devotional service alone is the cause of prema. So whatever we do in this culture of Krishna consciousness, that will cause prema. So bhakti itself, sanjayate bhakti. So bhakti is only meant to cause the prema. So in this way, the exclusive devotees become the objects of Sri Hari's exclusive grace. In this way, the exclusive devotees become the objects of Sri Hari's exclusive grace, and by this grace, they will swiftly be able to remove all their old bad habits and attain the treasure of pure devotion. As they thus relish devotion, they will be blessed with the genuine bliss. This is the essential purport of this Tripadi. Now, how to accomplish this platform? This is specifically going to be discussed in today's Sloka number 26. Na kori ho asat cheshta labh puja pratishtha sada chinta govinda charana sakala vipatti jabe mahananda sukha pave prema bhakti parama karana. So only on the realizing or coming to the platform of prema bhakti, that alone will free us from all these unwanted things. And sakala vipati jabe mahananda sukha pabe. Na kariho asat cheshta, that's the beginning. In order to attain the platform of asakti and further developing into bhav and prema, one has to become free from asat cheshta. The ultimate perfection of exclusive bhajan. In that stage we will become free from having any asat chesta, unwanted desire, chesta, aspiration. Labh, especially labh puja pratishtha. It's very, very subtle. Sada chinta govinda charana. So, do not endeavor for the false. Asat means false. Endeavor or desire or aspire for anything which is false, like profit, adoration and distinction. Instead, always think of Govinda's lotus feet. This is the key. Sada chinta Govinda charana. That is the way. Only if one is able to do this. Now this is very, very difficult. Just by saying for sake of information, what is the way out? Just always remember Krishna, always. The very purpose of scriptures is to cause this. Smartavya satatam Vishnur and Vismartavyo na jatuchit. If something is so important to be remembered all the time, to emphasize its importance, in Vyatirek Bhav it says, Vismartavyo na jatuchit. Double protection is given. If something is so valuable, but because of our conditioned state, even if it is the most valuable thing to accomplish, to sustain, to be able to remember Krishna all the times, but and conscious effort, whenever there is a conscious effort involved, we tend to forget. So there is three stages, no? Casual, conscious and spontaneous. What stage are we? So a sadhak can individually analyze oneself. Whether I am doing things just casually, just for the sake of doing, because then I can tell that at least I did this much. Just as or we are doing something consciously, spontaneously. So conscious stage is the stage of sadhana bhakti. And even in sadhana bhakti, even in conscious state, we make because of the residual effects of the anarthas, although grossly we may have freed ourselves from, but residual or subtle tendencies, subtle proclivity, residual proclivity for anarthas still linger on. And when they enter, then even when we are trying to remember or chant Krishna's name consciously, we forget unbeknown to us. We do not notice when we stop becoming Krishna conscious. In spite of trying to consciously remember and do all these things, when we forget, we don't know. That is the thing. So this conscious state, but we have to attain the spontaneous stage, that is Bhava Bhakti. At that point, it will become impossible to forget Krishna. And that is the purpose. So Sada Chinta Govinda Bhajana. So we have to be very sure that only on spontaneous platform, not from casual platform, not from conscious platform, but only from spontaneous platform. On the spontaneous platform only, we will be able to Sada Chinta Govinda Bhajana. We will be attain this. And in order to accomplish that, what is to be done? Do not endeavor for anything which is false, which is temporary, like worldly profit, adoration and distinction. Adoration, distinction, even so-called spiritual. Because our goal is to become a pure devotee, not like any other. We are not aspiring to become like anyone which is attractive or tempting, any stage, any position, any profit, distinction. We are not aspiring to be like anyone. We are aspiring only to become a pure devotee. And a pure devotee is always able to think of Krishna's lotus feet, because he doesn't have to do any effort. He doesn't have to consciously put some endeavor, because he has attained the platform of spontaneity. Unbeknown to him, he is always conscious of Krishna, and that's why he is always able to remember Krishna. Effortlessly, spontaneously. Then all calamities will go away and you will become very happy. This is the greatest cause for loving devotion. So what is the greatest cause? If somebody, the greatest cause of loving devotion is always think of Krishna's, Govinda's lotus feet. And how we will accomplish? By analyzing our consciousness where we are, and if the things which will keep us from attaining or keep us from becoming able or becoming blessed with the fortune of always think of Krishna's lotus feet. So those unwanted things also we should wipe away. So renunciation of false endeavors and the aspiration for distinction. What is that? Renunciation of false endeavors, or renunciation for of false endeavor, false things, and the aspiration for distinction. Renunciation of two things, asat chesta, and also renunciation of aspiration for distinction, profit, etc. So, in today's Sloka, Nautam Das Thakur is discussing, is highlighting the obstacles to bhajana, like false endeavors and the desire for profit, adoration and distinction, and their remedies by saying, Na kariho asat chesta. Don't aspire for something which is temporary, or this material world, just as this material world is temporary. It teaches by its very nature what is the constant of this world. What is the constant of this world? That it is not constant. In science they study various constants within this universe. Light, the particular angle the planets are, and the distance, and all these things. Many constants described. So that shows that the universe is fine-tuned, correct? So many constants. If a little difference, it can create havoc. Anyway, so there is a designer, there is a supreme who is in control all the times. You know, this humongous existence. We have no idea. We cannot, even in our imagination, we cannot fathom the limit of this material manifestation in front of us. What to think of the worlds beyond? So rather the information or Srila Prabhupada said the information about the spiritual world should cause our fascination to attain it and not remain trapped in the infatuation of this material world or temptations or because they are temporary. So the obstacles to bhajan, like false endeavors or endeavoring for things which is of this world, worldly, temporary, and the desire for profit, adoration and distinction and their remedies. By saying, na karyo asat cheshta, labh puja pratishtha. False endeavors means all endeavors whose results are not everlasting, that are short-lived. In other words, all worldly endeavors. So if we put so much endeavor to attain the results, attain the things which are temporary, then what happens? See, that connectivity, apavarga, pavarga is parishram, pa pha ba bha ma. This is how we connect this culture of study. What kind of pa pha ba bha ma. So if asat chesta, if one endeavors to attain temporary things of this world, and endeavor means putting a lot of parishrama. Pa, what is the effect? One attains the things. When after a lot of endeavor, when one gets a thing, then what happens? He gets it and pa pha ba. Bandhan, one becomes bound to it. If one gets something, some truth out of great endeavor, then one becomes attached to it. Attachment means that bandhan, one becomes bound to it. Then, what is next? Bha. Then one becomes fearful of losing it. I don't want to lose it, but it has to be given up. It will be, if you don't give it up, but it will leave you, because it is temporary. It is by nature. You cannot hold on to it all the time, but you have become attached to it. And in that attachment stage, the mrityu comes, the death comes. That's why at the point of death, whatever object we have with the object of our attachment, if it is temporary, asat avesh, asat asakti, this is how the continuity of our material existence. And that's why through the culture of Krishna consciousness, we want to become free from this pavarga. Apavarga means becoming free from asat chesta. Worldly endeavors that are not in connection with Sri Krishna. His devotees or his devotion. In other words, all worldly endeavors that are not in connection with Sri Krishna. His devotees or his devotion. Na tadasti prithivyam va divi deveshu va punha. Sattvam prakriti jair mukte yadebhit shatribhir gunai. Krishna says nothing in this material existence, either in the upper planets or lower planets or the earth planets. Na tadasti prithivyam va divi deveshu va punha. Sattvam prakriti jair mukti tribhir. Sattvam prakriti jair mukti. Anything which is born of this material nature of the three modes, it has its influence. Then where to take shelter? But in this very material manifestation in this world, Krishna manifests, correct? Along with Krishna, we also find devotees here, and also the process of devotional service. So we must associate with Krishna, Krishna's devotees, and follow the process of pure devotional service. So all worldly endeavors that are not in connection with Sri Krishna, his devotees, or his devotion, that are only related to the body and other perishable matters are called asat-chesta. The devotee who desires the highest welfare gives up all these false endeavors and constantly engages his body and senses in genuine endeavors. For the sake of Bhagavan, Sri Krishna, for the sake of Bhagavan, Krishna, Sri Guru, the Vaishnavas and devotion itself, engages his body and senses in genuine endeavors for the sake of Krishna, Sri Guru, Vaishnavas, and all the aspects of devotional service. The question may be, all these householder devotees who have taken shelter of the lotus feet of a bona fide Guru and who are following the path of bhajan, have to go to work, do business, or keep a farm in order to maintain their families. Devotees also appear to be doing all these things. Is this all false endeavor? The question is no, because Krishna's service, the endeavor to perform pure devotional service, then because we are not living in isolation, we are hankering, we are always aspiring for satsang, association of like-minded devotees. And even for maintenance, we have to apparently do endeavors, but their endeavor is catered to the need of performing devotional service. In order to perform pure devotional service, facility and all these arrangements are necessary, correct? Without very nice positive environment, how can we develop? Because Bhagavad Bhakti Sangena Parijayate. In order to establish this satsang or association of like-minded devotees. So the answer is no. This is all genuine work, because for the devotees who have taken shelter of Sri Krishna's lotus feet are all members of Sri Krishna's family. So one who is situated in Krishna consciousness, for him, he does not see others, especially in his family. If his wife, children, relatives, neighbors, everybody, if they can be engaged in Krishna's service, then all this endeavor for their maintenance, because we are duty bound. A husband is duty bound to take care of wife, children, etc., and other things. Only, but the main focus is how to nurture, how to nurture Krishna consciousness, not only in one's own life but also in the lives of those who are dependents of him. So their houses, wives, friends and money are all offered unto Sri Krishna's lotus feet. They perform all their domestic duties for Sri Krishna's service, not for nourishing their independent lives. Therefore, this is counted amongst the items of bhajan. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Manas deha gehe jo kichu mora arpilu tua pade nanda kishore. So dedicating everything to Krishna's service means that Krishna's service is not limited to, as we said, to his name only. Nam, Roop, Guna, Lila, Dham, Parikar, Abhara. So this is Krishna's service is all inclusive. So we cannot undermine Krishna's Rupa, we cannot undermine Krishna's devotees. So why should I make any endeavor to serve devotees. I am the Krishna devotee. Can we separate the service of Krishna's devotees from Krishna's service? No. So, if our endeavors is meant to dedicate or serve Krishna, and Krishna is not limited to just one person, then these are not, they are not anything different from bhajana. When Satsvarup Maharaj was wanted to quit his job and remain fully dedicated to the service of lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada said, no, you bring the money and give it to me, and because it is necessary to establish, to sustain the facilities, all these things. So his endeavor to do the apparently mundane job was not part of pure devotional service. It was pure devotional service because it is serving and fulfilling the desire of the spiritual master. So it is not different from pure devotional service. So actually, all the activities of a devotee who is surrendered to Sri Krishna are engaged in his service, and all worldly business activities that have been offered for Sri Krishna's pleasure are aids to attaining prema. Wow. What do you say? All the activities of a devotee who is surrendered to Sri Krishna are engaged in his service, and all apparently worldly business activities that have been offered for Sri Krishna's pleasure are aids to attaining prema. Sri Krishna personally told Uddhava, Madarthe dharma kamarthan acharan mad apashraya labhate nischalam bhaktim mai Uddhava sanatana. 11:24. What a beautiful. Krishna is telling, O Uddhava, the devotee who surrenders unto me and who performs all his activities, whether it be religiosity or economic development, dharma, artha, for my love. Whether it be religiosity or economic development, for my love, means for fulfilling my purpose. So sometime in order to attract the common masses who are very much engrossed in religiosity, so sometimes in order to attract people's attention towards Krishna consciousness, or some religious performance or some culture, some rituals is also demonstrated or created, but the purpose is to ultimately bring them in the fold of satsanga. And that's why apparently it is some kind of religious rituals, but because the purpose is to fulfill the desire of Manobhishta, how to connect people, if not immediately, directly to the highest offer or highest proposal of Krishna consciousness, but somehow to bring them in the fold of devotee association and make them create the facility, create the event where they can hear satsanga. So in the culture of Krishna consciousness, this dharma can also be utilized. Apparent religious performance can also be utilized, but the focus should be to bring the people, masses in the service of Krishna. Bring them also, give them the opportunity to attain the platform of pure devotional service. So that's why Krishna says, O Uddhava, the devotee who surrenders unto me and who performs all his activities, whether it be religiosity or economic development, which are like indirect, what they have directly to do with Krishna service, but they are very much. For my love, if the need is to get some economic development, and if we have the capacity and the know-how for the service of Sri Guru Gauranga, then that is also non-different from pure devotional service, although apparently it appears as a mundane endeavor or religiosity. So, whether it be religiously or economic development, for my love will attain unwavering devotion to me, the eternal one. So while even performing mundane duty, the whole focus is how I will be able to accomplish that service of the temple which needs that much Lakshmi or money. How I can fulfill the manobhishta of my spiritual master, what he wants to accomplish, So to accomplish anything, many things are needed, So accordingly, one can find the purpose of love of Sri Guru and Gauranga should be served, even if it means putting endeavor for religiosity or economic development. So from this statement from the Lord's own divine mouth, it is clearly understood that if the devotee's domestic duties for economic prosperity and maintenance of his family, along with all his other different subtle and gross desires, are performed for Sri Krishna, then they aid his attainment of prema. Because we don't live in isolation, running away from people. Rather, we create the atmosphere of satsang where we can attain the association of pure devotees. Thus, the practitioner, because one should think one has yet to become a pure devotee, and without associating with pure devotees, acknowledging others who are more advanced and pure, how can one himself become a pure devotee living in isolation just by thinking that through my own endeavor in isolation I will become a pure devotee? No. Bhagavad Bhakti, Bhagavad Bhakta Sangena Parijayate. So in order to create that atmosphere where we can sustain the association of pure devotees, all this endeavor which are directly, if they are directly catering to fulfill that need, then they are also considered, Krishna says, such activities are for my love. Because the focus is only to fulfill Krishna's desire. Our focus should not be diluted. Our purpose should be only the service of Sri Guru and Gauranga. So he does not just, thus the practitioner must take care. We can say that yes, I am doing for Krishna's sake, but one may become also engrossed in his bodily consciousness in the name of Krishna. Oh, I am doing maintenance of my family, they are Krishna's family, and all other different subtle and gross desires he may be catering. Just for saying sake, he may say, yeah, everything is Krishna's family, Everything I do is for Krishna's family. Everybody is Krishna's family I am serving. But the consciousness has to be checked. The practitioners must take care that what we are saying, we mean it. There is a saying, Bhavere ghare churi na thake. What we are aspiring to attain bhava, or the deep attachment for Krishna's sake, for Krishna. But if we are letting that bhava or attachment to the family, because this I-ness and my-ness comes. I miss this, my body, for my body's sake and mine. In relation to the body, I become very attached to. So, one should not just verbally profess that everything is for Krishna's sake, but actually he may be doing it for his own sake. That's possible, no? When everything is done for personal happiness, then the desires for mundane sensuality will be the cause of bondage to the material world. So sadhak has to watch out that in saying, yes, I am doing everything for Krishna, but one may be very much attached to me and mine in bodily connection. How much one is able to appreciate others also, other than just my body and my bodily relations. Only that limited, that self-centeredness again, correct. If we are Krishna-centered or Sri Guru-centered, then anything which is dear and near to Sri Guru or Krishna, this should be the object of our service, correct. I am limited to my body because I am a devotee, my wife is a devotee, and my children are devotees, they are Krishnas. So I am limiting my all the means and all endeavor just to think of them, just to take care of them like this. That's called bhavere ghare, churi na thake. That what we are aspiring, hankering for Krishna prema bhava, and we are letting that bhava become limited or centered into me, means my body, and those who are related with my body. So this is stealing. So in the name of Krishna, he is doing it for his own sake. When everything is done for personal happiness, then the desires for mundane sensuality will be the cause of bondage to the material world. For this reason, the scriptures and the great Mahajans teachers order us to give up all false endeavors. Like these false endeavors, the devotees must also give up the powerful obstacles of desire for profit, adoration and distinction. These vices are called vices that arise from devotion. 4 kinds of vices we discussed in the previous sloka. The vices born out of sinful tendencies, previous sanskaras. Vices born, due to dharmic punya. Because when one performs pious activities, then one gets, as a result of these pious activities, one gets a lot of facility for sense gratification, and one justifies, yes, because I have done many pious activities, and that's why I am getting all this facilities. So even a person who is in this path of pure devotional service in the beginning stage, may just justify his holding on to so many nice facilities for sense gratification. So that are the anarthas born of piety. The anarthas born of aparadha. And the 4th one is born out of this performance of devotion. Vices that arise from devotion. And what is that? Oh, people glorify me, people appreciate me, and people, now they know how great a devotee I have become. For when the devotee assesses himself in connection with his bhajan, this works like a band of thieves that drag the boat of his bhajan down to hell. Because his focus is now again self-centered. Puja Pratishtha. How much people are respecting me? How many people are listening me online? So this absorption, this is it's nothing but another or more disturbing way of becoming self-centered. So that's why ultimately what we will conclude in today's sloka is Sada Chinta Govinda Bhajan, only if we attain the platform of Kirtaniya Sadahari. Only at that platform we will be able to free ourselves from all these subtle, even vices that arise from devotion. We are practicing devotees, and the vices, they follow us because vices of devotion, this profit, adoration, distinction, they will follow us, and we will give shelter to them in our consciousness, and then we are done. For when the devotee assesses himself in connection with his bhajan, his works, this works like a band of thieves. So these are the thieves who are dragging us, and what is it? Depriving us to become fully Krishna centered, or Krishna conscious. And this attraction for profit, adoration and distinction after joining this path of pure devotional service, they are like a band of thieves that drag the boat of our bhajan down to hell. So Raghunath Das Goswami has, in his Manu Siksha, has given this very strong words. He has compared the desire for distinction with a shameless dog-eating woman. Wow. Pratishtha Asha. Pratishtha Asha Dushta Shvapacha Ramani me Hridi Natet. Katham Sadhu Prema Spurati Shuchir Etan Nanu Mana Siksha. O mind, the desire for distinction is like a shameless dog-eating woman. The desire for distinction is like a shameless dog-eating woman, Chandalini, who dances in my heart. How then can beautiful prema touch it? Dushta means shameless. It just doesn't want to leave the heart of the practitioner. At the end of Hari Bhakti Vilas, it is written, Sarva Tyagepi, very strong. Sarva Tyagepi Aheyaya Sarvanartha Bhuvasya Ye Kuryuhu Pratishtha Vishtaya Yatnam Asparshane Varam. Even those who are able to renounce everything in the name of pure devotional service, in the service of Guru Gauranga, even those, now it is becoming very, very strong. Even those who are able to renounce everything are not able to give up the desire for distinction, which is the root cause of all vice. आकाश से गिरा खजूर में लटका. Becoming freed from so many anarthas, gross anarthas, disowning all the gross anarthas. Let go everything. But this subtle anartha, which is the cause of all vice, because from grossly we may have become freed from all the anarthas. No meat eating, no gambling, no illicit connections, becoming pure, no intoxication. All these things are, but this, so that's why Prabhupada said this longing for distinction, profit, adoration, that is called subtle sex. The gross sex of the body, one becomes renounced or takes to vanprastha or sannyas ashram, and he is freed from gross entanglement of the bodily sense gratification. But even at that stage, Even those who are able to renounce everything are not able to give up the desire for distinction, which is the root cause of all vices. Now the question again, how this will be, one will be able to give up? That is the whole purpose, and that answer is Sada Chinta Govinda Charana. How we will accomplish, that is the purpose we want to discuss here. So, what to do? Therefore, the practitioner must be especially careful not to touch this tool-like distinction. This tool-like distinction. When one releases this tool, does anybody aspire to take it back? Malavata Tyaga. So this desire for distinction should be appreciated. Appreciate like a stool. Appreciation is not a proper word for the stool. It should be renounced. The desire for distinction, because it's so subtly unbeknown to us, and even we don't deny it. It does not get our denial when it creeps in, because it makes us self-centered, and one again falls in self-love instead of love for Krishna. Therefore, the practitioner must be especially careful not to touch this stool-like distinction. In Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, the desires for profit, adoration and distinction have been compared to weeds. When the wine of devotion is sprinkled with the water of the process of hearing and chanting, the weeds also grow and will suffocate the wine of devotion, so that she cannot grow any further. First, these weeds must be uprooted, and then the main trunk can grow towards Vrindavan. The desire for profit, adoration and distinction shows the desire, bhakti. The desire for profit, adoration and distinction shows its ugly force in the heart of a practitioner who has no taste for the holy name. If the taste is for the holy name, how can one have taste for anything else? The desire for profit. So this is self-analysis for all of us. The desire for profit, adoration and distinction shows its ugly force in the heart of a practitioner who has no taste for the holy names, attributes and pastimes of Sri Hari. Those pure-hearted souls who only aim at love of God, and those practitioners who are fixed in bhajan will be accordingly decorated with attributes like satisfaction, humility, modesty, etc., and will easily be able to cast away all these vicious desires of profit, adoration and distinction. After this, the blessed author proclaims Sada Chinto Govinda Charana. We have to somehow come to this stage of Kirtaniya Sadhari. Sada Chinto. Chinta. Only through Chinta, if in our consciousness, if we remain conscious of Krishna all the time, that is remembering Him. Na? That is Kirtaniya. So one can Kirtan, one can glorify Krishna, even just by being conscious of Krishna, isn't so? So when we are conscious of Krishna, what we think of? Don't we think so wonderful about Krishna? So that is glorifying Krishna. Thinking of somebody's wonderfulness is glorifying him, Kirtaniya, doing his Kirtan, correct? Kirtan means literally glorifying. So if we become conscious of Krishna, even as practicing devotee, all the times, if we can become conscious of Krishna all the time, that will free us from the desire or hankering for profit, adoration and distinction, becoming self-centered. So becoming Krishna conscious and becoming self-centered, they only go ill together, they cannot go together. So unless, our target should be Kirtaniya Sadahari. So this alone will free us from all the anarthas completely. So those pure-hearted souls who only aim at, we discuss this. The only means that Sada Chinto Govinda Charana, we have to somehow bring ourselves to the position of Sada. Sada means all the times, every moment. Sada Chinto Govinda Charana, the devotee who desires his own welfare, gives up all these destructive obstacles to bhajana and always meditates on Govinda's lotus feet. Here the word Charana is written in great devotional absorption. What is actually described here is the remembrance of the greatly sweet names, forms, attributes and pastimes of Sri Krishna. Through recollection of Sri Govinda, the heart of the person who meditates becomes immersed in Govinda. Just as the heart of the person who continuously thinks of sensual objects becomes immersed in sensuality. Vishayan dhyayatas chittam vishayeshu visajjate mam anusmratas chittam mayyeva praviliyate. Krishna says to Uddhavji. Just as the mind of a sensual person is immersed in the sweetness of sense objects, correct? Just as the mind of a sensual person is immersed in the sweetness of sense objects, and he is no longer able to think of Krishna or anyone else. Because attachment is always singular. If one is attached to something which is unwanted for a pure devotee, then what he should do? Then he should engage. Similarly, a mind which is attached to meditating on me, we have to come to the platform of becoming attached to Krishna. Then he will no longer endeavor in thinking of or getting to know any sensual thought. So attachment is very rarely achieved, nah? But if we are intelligent and if we are really determined, we should go for the rare thing, not ordinary casual things, which are ordinary things. If we have to put the endeavor, our endeavor should be for the real rare thing, not temporary things. So our endeavors since eternity has been only to accomplish temporary fortune. But in this lifetime, this present lifetime, we are exposed this fortune or the opportunity to go for the eternal fortune of love of Krishna. Sakala vipatti jai mahananda sukha pai. Then, if one is able to give up all false endeavors for profit, adoration and distinction and continuously think of Sri Govinda's lotus feet, then all disaster will dissipate from the practitioner. All disaster will dissipate from the practitioner. He will gain the treasure of great bliss, and it is also the greatest means to attain loving devotion. Another meaning is that loving devotion, which is the primary cause, loving devotion, which is the primary cause for attaining Sri Krishna, is also the cause of attaining loving devotion. Bhaktya sanjayate bhakti. Our devotion is endeavor, sadhan bhakti, or bhav bhakti. The purpose is prem bhakti. So the cause of prem bhakti is also this sadhan bhakti and our endeavor. So another meaning is that loving devotion, which is the primary cause for attaining Sri Krishna, is also the cause for attaining loving devotion itself. Therefore, each and every aspirant who wishes to attain prema should give up false endeavors for profit, adoration and distinction, and should continuously think of Sri Govinda's lotus feet. Sri Sutta Muni told the sages like Shaunaka about the result of thinking of the Lord's lotus feet in the conclusion of Srimad Bhagavatam in 12th canto. This amazing sloka comes. Avismriti. This sloka must be memorized by all sadhakas. Avismriti, 12th canto. 12th canto, one finds this sloka. Oh my God, where is it? Yes. Okay. In Bhagavatam, 12th canto, chapter 12, 54. Avismriti Krishna Padaravindayo Khinoti Bhadrani Cha Samtanoti Sattvasya Shuddhim Paramatma Bhaktim Jnanam Cha Vijnana Viraga Yuktam. The constant recollection of Sri Krishna's lotus feet destroys all inauspiciousness, extends the utmost auspiciousness, purifies the consciousness, awakens devotion to the Lord's lotus feet, and bestows transcendental realizations and knowledge endowed with this passion. It's a very deep sloka. It's a very deep sloka. See what it says. Avismriti. Avismriti means constantly. Avismriti, constant remembrance or the absence of forgetfulness. Avismriti Krishna Padarvindayo, of the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. Constant remembrance means the absence of forgetfulness even for a moment. Of the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. Khinoti, destroys or eradicates. Abhadrani, all inauspicious things, sins and impurities. And Shama, Shama means auspiciousness. Shama stanoti, it provides all auspiciousness, happiness and spiritual bliss. So the constant remembrance of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna destroys all inauspiciousness and brings about the highest good, a blissful experience of becoming attached to Krishna and be able to remember Krishna incessantly in the most blissful experience, So that is the thing. So this is the conclusion of today's slokas. Now, on practical aspect, one thing how this tendency for adoration, distinction, and profit, how this description. So, one practical example, just try to understand. This example we are giving not to think that we know now we know the secret, and so we are not thinking like that. But even to think that now we got the secret of attaining it, we cannot just becoming satisfied or now we know everything. Until we attain the stage of Kirtaniya Sadahari, we haven't got it yet. Mere theoretical knowledge, information would not suffice. We have to analyze ourselves. If we really hanker, because on this spiritual platform, only hankering is having it. Unless we really hanker to be able to remember Krishna all the times lovingly, we are not going to get it. Do we have the hankering? So the example is, once we were traveling, one devotee was very very showing his very appreciative mood towards us. So he says that, what do you think about a devotee who chants 128 rounds? And so I told what I think. I just pay him obeisance 100 times, 1,000 times, that he's able to engage so much time to be able to chant 128 rounds daily. I said, wow. And he's asking me to tell what I think about him, or say something about it. I say, how can I say anything about him except just bowing down to him 100,000 times? Because but the devotee who is so fond of us, he would not leave us alone. No, you have to say something. What do you think about that devotee? I said, very highly, because where do I stand in comparison? Of course, on this path of pure devotional service, one should not compare, because the comparative would make it competitive. Oh, I want to become like him. If I compare, our focus should be that I want to become a pure devotee, and not like this devotee or that devotee. I chant 16 rounds and somebody chants 32 rounds. How I will think about him? Well, I will catch up to him, then I will chant maybe 35 rounds. Then I can say that, hey, I am superior to you. Correct? How this adoration, distinction and profit, the desire is so subtle, it creeps in. And how you think about somebody who chants 64 rounds, then wow, one feels so degraded. I barely chant 16 rounds. I'm struggling even at that stage. Somebody 64 rounds. Then what about 128 rounds? But so the devotee was said, now you have to, what do you think about that devotee? And I said, to say anything or anything which along this line is very offensive. You have to only glorify the devotee who is able to chant these many rounds. But he said, no, you have to tell me. I said, I cannot make any comments on him except just it's very glorious. But he would not leave me. You must be thinking something. Like we come across people who tell that I chant 64 rounds. That's great. That's wonderful. But the whole idea is, our focus is Kirtaniya Sadahari. Our goal is not to become the chanter of 128 rounds. I'm saying this not in a derogatory or diminishing the person, minimizing the person's glory that he is able to chant this much, which I never was able to do this. But the purpose is, would that suffice? So he insisted that I have to say something. Then I say, I cannot speak anything about that person or his consciousness, whatever. But if I were ever able to do this much chanting, what will I tell myself? I was thinking like this before responding to him. So I told, suddenly I thought, I just asked him, but how you know that he chants 128 rounds? This is, I'm just recalling the response I gave. Then he said that he himself told him that he chants 128 rounds daily. I said, wow, that's very amazing. I cannot speak anything about him or make any comment. But if I were able to ever chant 128 rounds, what I will tell myself, this is the contemplation. What I will tell myself, I can tell this to you. But I cannot speak or make any comment about that devotee. But I can say what I will advise myself if I were able to chant that many rounds. It's okay, whichever. Then I said, I will tell myself, wow, you have chanted 128 rounds. Now only 64 is left. I will advise myself, now you have chanted this, so you stand the best chance to chant the remaining 64 rounds. So if I tell myself, chant 64 more rounds, then all my time will be consumed, 24 hours will be consumed. Then I will be left with not even the time to tell anyone how many rounds I have chanted, correct? And if I don't have time to tell how many rounds I have chanted, that means I have freed myself, from that adoration or distinction. So that was the stage of Namacharya Haridas Thakur. He did not have time to think or tell anybody how many rounds he chanted. He was in the Kirtaniya Sadahari, that's why he's called Namacharya. That's the very embodiment of chanting, his whole existence. So this is how subtle this is, So that's why at any stage of our advancement in Krishna consciousness, we can watch out where do we stand. Have we attained the platform of Kirtaniya Sadahari, Sada Chinte Govinda Charana? If not, then what is there to be proud of? What is there to be so thinking so highly about oneself? We have yet to accomplish Kirtaniya Sadahari stage. And that alone will free us from all the anarthas. Because even if the thought of anarthas come, it won't be allowed. It won't have any time and space for them. Because we have engaged our totality of our time available to us 24 hours in the thought of Krishna, and there is no time left for thinking of oneself independently. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. So I think we are already over. No. So thank you very much for your patient listening. We can have some interaction, can join. Any question, comment, reflection, please come forward. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Pranam Shri Guru.
Hare Krishna, welcome.
What a wonderful class, and every time you speak, I feel like I should say something. I should just express my gratitude, but then I feel like I don't have anything to say, nothing to contribute any eloquently. But I just want to express my gratitude in whatever poor way I can, because the time that you give us, the insights that you give us, every word that comes from your lotus mouth, it is just so pure and so joyful, and it is not, I cannot really grasp it, but it feels like you're opening a whole other realm for me. And I pray that one day I can hanker for pure love of Godhead. Hare Krishna, Pranam.
Well, how can the expression of gratitude be poor? So how can you call yourself poor? Of course, you are hankering for more. That way, even a rich person who is hankering for more riches, then he thinks he is poor. But that is our very process, the expression of gratitude, and Krishna tells, Naivopayanti apachitim kavayastavesha. Even the great stalwart learned persons, they are not capable to express sufficient gratitude to what Krishna has done to them. And that way they feel poor also, but they are not poor. So one who thinks oneself is poor is not poor, but one who thinks that he is very rich is poor. See the paradox on this path of your devotion service? Anyone who thinks he is very rich, actually he is poor because he needs a lot. But he thinks he doesn't need any more. Na? So one who feels poor, he will get more. We all need more. Na? Ye dil mange more. There is a saying in Indian advertising. Ye dil, ye means this heart. Mange means hankers for more. And one who hankers for more is a real rich person on this path. What a paradox. Correct? So who doesn't want to be rich? We all must. Who doesn't want to become rich? So the only way to become rich is to only one who will become rich, one who thinks of oneself as poor. No? But one who thinks that he is rich, he will lose the very thing yet to be attained. So in that style, if you feel poor in expressing your sufficient gratitude, well, you have all the chance, all the opportunities in this very life to achieve whatever you target. So all the best wishes and Sri Swamini Matirastu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Pranam Shri Guru. If anyone would like to ask any questions or say something, then you can please unmute yourself.
So tomorrow is Sunday. This Ekadashi, in America we had Ekadashi yesterday. So in Europe also today or tomorrow? Or it was already yesterday?
Today, Shri Guru. In Scotland and Germany, it's today.
So today is a Hindi project that will be transferred to Tuesday. So, because we don't, that's all. All right then. Okay, one question. Harsh Vardhanji. Okay.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dharan Pranam. Thank you so much for this
Yes.
wonderful lecture. Maharaj, in the lecture, you emphasized on that. You also said that acknowledging others who are pure devotee, without acknowledging others who are pure devotee, we cannot ourselves be on the path of becoming a pure devotee. So, Maharaj, I wanted to ask a very basic question on it, like what can be the right way, or how can we acknowledge someone? Because as at my current position, I'm very immature and I don't understand a lot of things. So how can I categorize or channelize that?
Yes, very, very nice question. Even a pure devotee never thinks of himself as a pure devotee. That's a very dangerous position to claim. Ours is a path of claiming nothing, but only acknowledging the mercy. So one who is always in the acknowledgement of mercy, then one will anchor for more mercy only, rather than thinking or settling that I got everything, I know everything, मुझे सब मालूम. Everybody knows that I'm the most learned, I'm the most devoted, I'm a sannyasi, a pure devotee. Everybody thinks of me as a pure devotee. So that's a very dangerous position. So one should always sustain this feeling of poverty hankering for more. Because if we lose the hankering, we lost everything. We lost the real thing. Real thing is yet to be attained. That's why we always reiterate this understanding that until we are transferred in the absolute, transferred to the absolute realm, until we have attained this Kainkaryatva of Srimati Radharani, we haven't got anything as yet. Even if people all around us glorify us as pure devotee, I cannot afford to think of myself as pure devotee. Now, directly to response to your question, that way I will always seek the association of those whom I can perceive as pure devotee. At least someone we should be able to perceive as pure devotee. And that is called Sri Guru at least. So, Sri Guru is just not a great devotee. A sadhaka should think of the spiritual master as the greatest devotee. He's the most blessed one. Because to think of one's spiritual master as a great devotee is also offensive. Because then we will tend to compare him with others, pros and cons, some plus minus thing. The spiritual master, the perception of spiritual master should be absolute. Absolute means he is the most blessed. So how can there be any fault in the most blessed person? Otherwise, one does not fit the category of being most blessed. So, we must seek the association of more advanced devotees as a sadhaka. And if we have not accepted the shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, then one should associate more and more with more advanced devotees, and until one comes to the point or in perception and revelation in the heart of perceiving someone as the most blessed. So when we become connected to the most blessed, then all other tendencies will be removed, because we now found our direction. Then when direction, specific direction we have got, then our dasha, our position also changes. Na? Disha badalti hai to dasha bhi badal jati hai. If your direction has changed, then our situation also changes. Then we are left with no doubt, left with no dilemmas as to what to do and what not to do. Now we are perfectly directed under the guidance of the most blessed one. And we will be left with no doubt whether or opting for anything else. If we have the perception that we are with the most blessed, then why should we hanker, or we should have any option left for going anywhere else? So seek the association of those who are perceived by you as very advanced, more advanced than me, at least, and then coming to the realization of finding of the most blessed one. If you identify, when you will be able to identify, your heart will be able to identify, or your heart will be blessed to identify a most blessed one, then all the answers will be answered. No question will remain there. Alright?
Yes, Manas, thank you so much. Even though I'm so miser and so unfortunate, but because of devotees, I got your association. I feel really blessed about that. Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Yeah, there are two words: being miserly, feeling miserly, and feeling poor. You know the difference?
Miser is like kanjus.
And poor means Poverty means in desperation. A miserly person may not be in desperation. Our hankering is hankering, that is feeling so, in desperation, in destitute, that is poverty. So a person, the person who is not miser actually one who is hankering, one who is feeling hankering for the real thing, one who is feeling poor, that I am bereft of this thing. So we don't have to become miserly. We have to develop the feeling of deprivation, that we are bereft of love of Krishna, we are bereft of love for Krishna. Vanchitosmi, vanchitosmi, vanchitosmi na sanshaya. Vishwam gaura rase magnam sparshopi मम न अभवत. बाकी सबको सब मिल गया, मैं ही वंचित रह गया, मैं ही वंचित रह गया, मैं ही वंचित रह गया. So that is hankering. That is hankering for the real thing. Even if the people around us say, "Oh, you are the most blessed. You got everything. You have got everything." But I am still stuck here. So this is how this vice of adoration, profit, and distinction keeps on bound to this material realm. And we must address this possibility very seriously, so that we can sustain our hankering for the ultimate goal, which is yet to be accomplished. For a sadhaka, at every stage, no matter how high one may, even on the platform of love of God, until one is transferred there, he must sustain this hankering yet to be attained. Hankering for something should always be there, to feel how poor we are. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
All right then. In exactly less than
Hare Krishna, Pranam Shri Guru.
Hare Krishna.
We missed the satsang today, Shri Guru. We are misfortune of living in the material world, and we pray that somehow we can get out of this conditioning quickly. Shri Guru, a question. We were contemplating on the classes we heard from you on Vilap Kusumanjali, where you discussed that anybody who lives on Radha Kund or leaves their body on Radha Kund or have their final ceremony on Radha Kund, Swamini has promised that they will all attain Manjari Bhav and service of Radharani. So that made us wonder, Shri Guru, there are many people who live on Radha Kund who are either practicing Mayavad philosophy or worshippers of Devi Durga or some other demigods. And in Prema Bhakti Chandrika, Narottam Das Thakur is warning us not to worship any other demigods or demigoddesses. So, how does that tune in, Shri Guru, that even though they are living on Radha Kund but worshipping some other deities, they will still attain, Shri Guru, the
That,
man?
is, that instruction is for us. Correct? Do we have that faith that we will make arrangement that our antim sanskar is done there? How obsessed or how determined are we? Whatever means at our disposal, can we guarantee, can we make it certain that that be done, that will be tested. So whether this information is just for the sake of information or real in practical, the fact is it is so rare a fortune, but who has the faith? If something is so rare, but if we don't have the sufficient faith, it is not rare for us, for those. It takes something to make sure that my last rituals is performed in Radha Kund, and that fortune will come or not. How can I make sure? So one has to immediately just leave everything and just go there. That is one thing. Or by the effect of his previous actions or anything, those, especially those who are living in the area of Braj Mandal, they can at least, but it is specifically Radha Kund. So many may be passing away in Vrindavan, but one who makes sure that his last rituals will be performed, his wife either will be buried or burned, cremated in Radha Kund. That is it's a thing. How fascinating is this for us? Well, since you asked this question, this must be very fascinating for you. It is not worrying for others. If they are, no matter what they are doing, if they are cremated or buried in Radha Kund, there is a promise. Do we doubt the promise given by Radharani? Or the blessing given by Radharani? No. The focus should be on oneself. Will I be able to attain that fortune? And this is the shortest and the surest way to absolute success. Whether we have performed how much culture of this Manjari Bhav Upasana or culture of Krishna consciousness of the highest nature, the ultimate proof will be whether we will end up there or not. So those who are ending up there, why we doubt their fortune? Do you think everything is by our culture of practice and our endeavors, sadhana, anything? No. It is a path of absolute mercy, and mercy is attained only when we take it literally what is given to us. Our intelligence creates a disturbance. Intelligence creates this, whether this is so right, fully right, we take it casually, So there are three stages of in our system, whether we take things casually, we take it consciously, or we take it spontaneously. Consciously, when we try to analyze, and we think how far this is true, whether it's fully true or not. But spontaneously, if we just take it, we take it literally. So certain things have to be taken literally to be conscious, to be spontaneous, correct? In spontaneity, we take it everything literally, correct? Yes. In the conscious state, we analyze whether it is fully right or all the time right, sometimes right. If it is right for someone or not. All right?
Yes, Shri Guru. Dandavat Pranam, Shri Guru. Hare Krishna.
So that's very rare, to have the rituals, last rituals in Radha Kund. Who can put in his will? People write the will in the name property. This property goes to my son or daughter or this and that. Can one put a will for oneself that my last rituals we perform in Radha Kund? Anybody who is hearing this rendering, and anybody who wants to spread the news, how many will have the faith just by, unless the person they are hearing from, they have absolute faith in him. If they think of him as the most blessed, then whatever he speaks will be taken spontaneously. And in spontaneity, one takes it literally. So certain things have to be taken literally. Hare Krishna.
This is amazing concept, Shiguru, you have shared. Some things we take casually, some things consciously, and some things spontaneously. That's Pranam, Shiguru. Hare Krishna.
Sri Swamini Matiras. Pitai Gaur Premanand. All right then. Gaur Premanande Hari 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 Bol. Oh, Pundit Pundrik Vidyanidhi is here today.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam.
Yes, something to share?
No Maharaj, nothing.
Come on, you are so miserly. You know, even a poor person can share something, you know. A miserly person is one who doesn't want to share anything. So, what would you prefer? The feeling of poverty or feeling of miserly?
Mm.
Would you
Feeling
rather
of
be
poverty.
poor or miser? if, if the two positions are the only options to aspire after, the feeling of poverty or feeling of miserliness, what would you go for?
Feeling of poverty.
So what? So are you bereft of it?
Yes, Maharaj.
That means you are very rich. You think you are very rich, no?
No, I don't think I'm rich.
That's why you don't think you are poor. One who thinks one is very poor cannot think that he is very rich, and one who thinks that he is very rich, you know, and doesn't want to be called poor, that is miserly, because he wants to hold on to oneself only. So such is the contemplation, paradoxical contemplation on this path of pure devotional service. And the more and more paradoxes we face or we come across in our contemplation, more and more enlightened we will feel. And where such enlightening becomes constant, that's called full awakening. Awakening is nothing but incessant of enlightening. All right then.
Yes, Maharaj. Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Sri Swamini Matidas.
Hare Krishna. We will all chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra minimum 3 times in honor and love for our dear Shri Guru.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
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 Hare
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 Ram,
Ram,
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare
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 Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna,
Hare
Hare Hare.
Rama, Hare
Ram,
Rama,
Hare
Rama
Ram,
Rama,
Ram
Hare Hare,
Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare Hare.
Hare Rama,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Rama,
Hare
Rama
Ram,
Rama,
Ram
Hare
Ram,
Hare.
Hare Hare.
with all the love of our hearts, we will together chant Om Vishnupad Paramhansa Parivrajakacarya Ashtottara Shat Shri Swamini Kripa Murti Shri Srimad Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Bhakti Swarup Govind Maharaj ki
Jai,
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 Jai.
Jai,
Jai.
Jai.
जय गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव
Hari 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 Bol. Hari Hari. Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari.
Pranam Shri Guru. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone. Sri Swamini Matirastu. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol.
Pranam Shri Guru, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, today and last time the Kirtan was very, very absorbing. But we had to cut it short because otherwise. Hare Krishna. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari 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 Bol.
Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranam Shri Guru.
Yeah, we'll join you all again in the Kirtan. This is just 2 more hours and some minutes.
Hare Krishna, Dandvat Pranam Gurudev.
Hare Krishna, Sri Swamini Matirastu. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari 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 Bol.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Shri Guru.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Welcome, Sri Swamini Matirastu.
Hare
Nitai Gaur.
Krishna. Pranam Shri Guru.
Hare Krishna, Sri Swamini Matirastu. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari 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 Bol.